What if I told you that the reason burnout keeps winning is not because you are weak or lazy or undisciplined enough? What if the real problem is that you've been playing the wrong type of game? Most leaders treat burnout like a hack and slash. They keep swinging, they keep grinding, they keep trying to push through until something gives. And usually what gives is you. But burnout isn't some sort of hack and slash encounter. It's a turn-based boss fight. And the moment you understand the difference, everything changes. My name is Doc. Welcome to the Guiding Lantern. Let's talk about how to actually win this fight. I want to tell you something that I do not say often enough. I have experienced burnout and I needed to actually deal with the problem. And usually it does not come in some sort of crisis season or some sort of dramatic collapse. Burnout often comes when everything comes due at once. Responsibilities kept stacking. The second I took something away, something else was immediately in its place. And I was not sleeping. My eyes were twitching all the time. I was running at a level of stress that became so normal that I actually didn't notice it anymore. Because here's what the Burnout Beast does. It doesn't kill you in one hit. It's death by many cuts. It chips away at you slowly, consistently. A little more mana gone today, a little more HP gone tomorrow. Until one day you reach for your resources and there's nothing there. That is what this boss does. So what do we do about it? What I tried to do first was actually fight harder. I tried to optimize more, find better systems, manage my time more precisely. That's kind of a classic hack and slash response. And some of that is important. If you're not managing your time right, well, we need to discuss that. But burnout is not a wall that you climb over. It's a multi-phased, legendary boss encounter. And you cannot hack and slash and grind your way through a multi-phase fight. You will run out of resources every single time. What I had to do, and it took longer than I would like to admit, was actually start to say, I have a problem here and I need to become the strategist of my own recovery. And I couldn't just opt out of my responsibilities. I had to build a case that some of this needed to be offloaded and find some real solutions, a clear pathway forward, and implement it while I was still running on empty. Before you can fight smart, you've got to know what you're working with. In any good turn-based system, you track your resources. You don't guess, you look at the numbers. So here's your first assignment. For the next 3 days, track 2 things. First, what is actually draining you? Not the obvious stuff, the endless meetings, the overloaded inbox, chores, whatever it is. Look for the subtle drains. The conversation that left you hollow. The obligation you said yes to when every single part of you wanted to say no and you could have said no. Second, what actually restores you? Not what should restore you, not what productivity content says you should be doing, what genuinely, measurably puts energy back in your bar. For most leaders, that second list is shockingly short, and a lot of what's on it doesn't feel productive at all, which is exactly why they stop doing it. Now you need to begin to categorize your daily tasks, those light attacks, routine, low cost, sustainable. Heavy attacks, meaningful output that burns through significant amounts of your energy. And then ultimate attacks, full burn, everything on the table efforts that require a full rest cycle before you can actually do them again. Here's what the audit reveals almost every time. A lot of leaders are throwing out their ultimates and their heavy attacks like they're free resources. They're not free. And when you run out of mana midweek, the boss gets extra turns. You become reactive, scattered, running on fumes, and wondering why this fight feels impossible and you want to give up. Know your numbers. Set a hard limit on heavy, challenging, difficult things that you attack per day. Guard that limit like it's your last healing potion, because it is. Here's one thing that most people never figure out. Rest is not one thing. We treat it like it is. We say, I need to rest, so we go collapse on the couch, binge a TV show for a few hours, and wonder why we ultimately feel worse. That's not rest. That's passive depletion wearing rest's armor. And not everything on that menu fills the same amount of resources. Let me tell you what's on mine. First, I love to go swimming. Unfortunately, I live in a place where I can only go swimming a couple of months out of the year. And so I prioritize in June and July and early August as much swimming as humanly possible because it's very life-giving to me. Being in the water clears my head faster than almost anything else I've ever found. The mental noise just stops. The second is Dungeons and Dragons, not because it's some form of escapism, but because it's genuinely creative play that's really life-giving to me with no real output attached. Nobody needs anything from me except to show up and be present in the story, roll some dice, and have some fun. The other thing is I love a good role-playing game or Japanese role-playing game. There's something about a well-crafted RPG that lets my brain engage without being in charge. I'm not leading, I'm not solving anyone's problems, I'm just in this world playing a game and having fun. I like to find slowdown that is intentional rather than accidental. The point isn't my list. The point is that I know my list. What is on your list? And I choose it deliberately based upon what I'm actually depleted in. By the time I get to the end of the school year, the fact that the pool is going to be open for a couple of months is awesome and a great way for me to recharge those long-term batteries. You can't engage in passive recovery. You have to have some sort of active method. You have to know what restores you. For some people, that's sleep, and they're not getting enough sleep and they're not prioritizing enough sleep. I've had to do that as well. Active restoration means looking at what you're actually depleted in, mental clarity, emotional energy, creative reserves, and choosing a rest action that targets that specific resource. Rest isn't being lazy. Rest is tactical mastery. Now, how do we actually put this into practice? First, you need to establish some sort of turn structure. High output work followed by a mandatory defensive stance. It's not optional. It's not if I have time. It is mandatory. Productivity without active recovery is just sending you down the path to the burnout beast faster than you would actually like. Second, you need to use tactical positioning. Change your physical environment to signal a phase shift if you can. When the work phase ends, move, go to a different room, go outside, go somewhere new. Your brain is looking for environmental cues to shift you out of combat mode. Give it one. This is how your nervous system actually works. If you work at a computer all day and then you would like to do some gaming in the evening, spend some time, go outside, change the lighting in the room, whatever you need to do to shift to your brain, you are in a different environment now. The third thing you need to do is monitor the data. If what you're doing to rest isn't actually restoring your energy, then you probably need to find something else to do to rest. If your strategy to beat burnout is failing, you need another strategy. What restored you 5 years ago may not actually restore you now. It could be draining you. And fourth, and this is especially true for people who are high performers, you may have to build the case for your own recovery. You may have to show the people at work, hey, I have way too many responsibilities. I cannot get this done in a decent amount of time. I am very burnt out. This is very stressful. I need to offload. I need some help. You have to advocate for yourself. It isn't some sort of weakness. It's wisdom. The solution that you build will outlast the season that you're in. This turn-based protocol isn't actually about doing less. It's about staying in the fight long enough to actually win. So here's the question I want to leave you with. What does winning actually look like for you? Not surviving, not white-knuckling it through the weekend, not I made it. What does genuine victory look like for you? Because if your victory stance is still standing, you're just gonna play defense forever. And the Burnout Beast loves a party locked in survival mode. It never has to even press the attack. It just waits for you to burn out. Real victory looks like you're building something, you're growing. Each hard season leaves you slightly stronger than before because you're intentionally resting. You're not invincible. You need to invest in rest and recovery habits that will keep you healthy and sane in the long term. Have boundaries, keep them. Prioritize sleep, prioritize rest, prioritize things that are genuinely fun and restorative to you. That's what leveling up, in my mind, really looks like. Slow, deliberate, increasing your capacity for the next hard season that comes. Adventurer, I want you to hear this clearly. The eye-twitching, sleepless nights, the stack of responsibilities that keeps growing, that's not the final chapter. That's a mid-boss encounter before you learn the mechanic that changes everything. The Burnout Beast does not defeat the leader who knows how to rest. It finds no purchase. It gains no extra turns. You were made for exactly this kind of fight. Learn how to fight it.